When you're driving in the car, most disc jockeys tend to press the buttons up and
check.
down to see what they're doing out there, you know.
Right.
But in general, at home, I like to relax, put my feet up on a hot woman, and and have some nice, quiet background music and a few drinks. You know, just generally relax. Except for tonight, it's great here. How do you get to do a TV show from a furniture store, mate?
I'm not too sure. You have no budget. It's a big start.
Yes.
Radio, has it been good to you?
I guess you could say yes, because it's my main occupation, it's what I do. But I'm not too sure whether to look at them out there or you here.
Sweet.
This is what's
Chat with me. They'll
I'll look over
it.
there. Yes. What was the question again?
How good has it been?
Well, it's paid the rent. You know, it's the main thing, I guess. It's given me a lot of scope for creativity, stupidity, a lot of mistakes, a lot of good times, all that stuff.
Where did you first start? Was it in Victoria?
Yes, I was an office boy at a Melbourne radio station, as a matter of fact, and I worked my way down from there.
So when did you first go on air?
Midnight to... No, it was a country radio station in Western Victoria called 3CS, which is about 90 miles west of Melbourne. And it's still there now. In fact, I have a small percentage. We bought the station a few... It was funny because we had a sports director there who I used to hate, you know. I couldn't stand the bloke. And I said, one day I'll come back and I'll buy this radio station and I'll fire that bloke.
Give him the flick, and did you?
And I came back after many, many years later, and we got a syndicate. It was on the market. And I bought the station, and he died 2 years earlier. Now, isn't that typical of those sort of people? You know, poop. I thought. Now I'm stuck with a radio station.
Like, have you got thousands of dollars invested, or is it a small investment?
No, it's only a small radio station. But it's interesting, Donnie, because it's the other side of the coin. Like in radio, being on the air, being a disc jockey, and all that sort of stuff. Now I go to board meetings every month, and I see the balance sheets.
Right.
The grey hairs, you see.
You start to really know what
goes on
they've
behind.
been complaining about for years.
That's right.
And, a lot of bitching about, I guess.
A lot of people think that having a radio station, you know, licensed to print money, the same as a TV station. But a lot of radio stations in this country and TV stations are really battling for a quid these days.
Not working as strong as everyone seems to think.
Yeah.
But if you've got the good ones that are working, what do you think of FM?
FM is, I mean, for music, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect. What is interesting, I think, in the near future will be AM stereo.
Right.
Which is very much on the horizon now. And that will be an advantage because AM has a better signal in terms of how far it can reach.
You're always having trouble picking up FM.
FM tends to fade, and you get buildings in the
Harbour Bridge, and they wipe out on
That's right, yeah. So it's got that going for it. It could be interesting. I think FM will be the music media, you know, I mean, for people who are really into music, the big stereo speakers, all that sort of thing.
Right. Would you like to work FM?
Maybe one day. I think AM suitable more for what I'm into, like more personality radio, hooning around, good times, familiar records, old records, new records, stuff we all know and love.
Yeah. When you first got onto SM, which I think was, what, 13, 14 years ago? You
13 years ago,
of late.
Oh.
How did you get that job? Where did you come from at that stage of your career to...
Well, I've been in Perth for a couple of months, working at 6PR over there. Before that, I was working in England on the pirate stations, which were the offshore radio stations.
Right, which ones?
Radio Caroline, and a station called Radio City, which was in the Thames estuary, and it was an old wartime fort, been abandoned for years. Right. And this guy went out one day in a rowboat, and there it was, a huge, imagine a huge metal cabin, 2 stories high, flat roof, on big concrete legs, sitting on the floor of the ocean. And that was the radio station.
Like
they put
an
a big
oil rig.
Yeah. Put a big mast up, came on the air, pounding out the power.
There was some strange thing happened at one of those, wasn't there?
Yeah, we thought it was kind of strange at the time, because what happened was the bloke who owned the station, the manager, he was sort of murdered a bit. And so he
moved quickly.
He was dead. No, it wasn't. I didn't do it.
Right.
I mean, he paid bad money, but I wouldn't go that far.
Not quite that far.
And he was murdered. It was a blackmail attempt to take over the radio station by a rival syndicate. Yeah. And they sent on the thugs came on at midnight. We were all in bed asleep, and they took over the station. We were off the air for a week, and they held us at gunpoint. But apart from that, just the usual week, you know.
And was that chap actually murdered, like, early in the piece or at the end of that week?
Early in the piece.
So all you guys are on there knowing that someone's been killed? Yeah.
And being in international waters, Scotland Yard couldn't do much to help us, really. And the bloke, they knew who did it.
Right.
But he was a big wartime hero, ex-paratrooper and all this stuff, you see. And he got off on manslaughter.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
And so, was that the second one you worked at? Is that why you came back to Australia?
The first
that was
one,
the first.
yeah.
So you then went to Caroline?
Caroline, yeah. And that was a ship, a little ship bouncing off the coast. That's right, yeah.
Was that the same time?
All the stars went through pirate radio, mate.
Who were some of the other Aussies that worked through?
Oh, there was, this is going back for those who can remember, Alan, forgotten his name myself, Alan, good old Alan thing. No, Alan, that'll do, Alan Ladd. No, it was Alan somebody. No. Freeman, no.
Freeman.
Well, he's in the BBC now. Anyway, a lot of people been through there.
And what about Tony Windsor?
That's the guy I was thinking of, Tony Windsor.
Yeah.
And he was called Tony Withers here, I think, in Sydney.
And when he left here, it was the front page that he was dying of cancer or something, and he went...
Yes, yes, I believe that was the headline, and they had a big benefit night for him, and a lot of money came in, and Tony took the money and said, thank you very much, goodbye.
Are disc jockeys in the main nice, normal guys, or are they connies and sort of a little bit touchy?
Oh, you'd know this. I mean, we're ordinary blokes. I mean,
ordinary blokes.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, it's a job. It's a job with a lot of challenge, a lot of you've got there's always tension, especially working in a major market radio station where you have ratings to worry about and all those sort of things. That's good. It keeps you on your toes.
When you were over there, this record may have been a hit or may not have been Concrete and Clay.
Yeah, it
was. Which was by
before I went over to England.
4+2.
That's right,
correct?
Yeah.
Well, Lem Lubin, who's coming on, was a founder member of that group, but he's now into production and things. So did you know him at that stage?
As a matter of fact, no.
Well, you'll meet him.
Oh, good.
Let's talk about On Nick. We'll get into a song that you had around a little while ago. You have moved to TW, but On Nick is now not with you on the air, is that correct?
Not on the air, no. No, we work together in other areas. We're working on a few TV ideas and things like that, We had this idea for a great Saturday night show, late night. You have a couch, a few guests in, play a few clips.
So then have a few drinks.
Probably worked very well, actually.
Smoke and whatever.
All that sort of stuff. Relaxed atmosphere, a few drinks.
Well, you did, with On Nick, have this record around that caused a little bit of a problem for you last year, didn't you?
The Ballad of Lady Di was a cynical attempt to cash in on the royal wedding. And we went very well for a while there. Actually, it came in the first week on the charts at number 4.
Yeah.
And even McCartney can't do that.
Right.
And then, unfortunately, the record company changed hands overnight in midstream, as it were, and there was no record stock in the stores, and people wanted to go and buy the Ballad of Lady Di, and they couldn't buy it. So next week, out of the charts. 1 week in, can you believe that?
1 in and 1 out.
Yeah.
Well, what about in England? Did not the BBC put a ban on it, etc.?
Well, not a ban. The BBC played it for a while, and then what happened was those riots. Remember those riots in Brixton?
Yes.
And they all broke out, and then there were threats against the royal couple for the upcoming wedding. And then the BBC freaked out and said, "Look, we can't. This is not funny any longer. Off the air with anything to do with Lady Di and all that." So our record once again bit the dust, unfortunately.
We'll have a look at it now, eh?
Oh, you're kidding.
No. How many records have you made over the years?
Oh, millions.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Here's one of probably the biggest hit. Macrae, and for the On Nick, Lady Di, and then Peter Gabriel.
Down amongst the upper crust, Lord Spencer had a thought. I'll marry off me daughter Di, that should amuse the court. So he placed an ad in the Sunday Times and one on the castle gate. It read, "Come and have tea with Di and me, 'cause it's time she had a mate." And Lady Di said, "Stick it in your eye, the only man..."
Hello, Grace. Hello, Amazing Grace.
And up here we've got Lem Lubin.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
the gentleman
we
I was
didn't know
speaking
each
about
other.
earlier.
Not before tonight, we didn't.
Lem, you actually produced that?
Yeah, that was from the first album.
But your name wasn't
No,
on the label?
I was a staff producer at CBS, I wasn't allowed to.
So if you're a staff producer, they don't put your name on?
At the time they didn't, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
How many other people would you have produced over the years?
Oh, I don't know, hundreds.
Really?
Lots,
It's been that many?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Well, at CBS I was, anything I signed, I was responsible
You then went in and produced
Yeah.
it? So name some of the people that you worked with.
New Hearts, which later became Secret Affair when they left. Clash. Barron Knights.
Yeah?
Just CBS people? We're talking about CBS people?
Oh, no, go
Vince
right
Hill.
through them if you will.
Oh, Elton. I did a track with Elton.
Now, you worked for Rocket Records at one stage.
Yeah.
Was that a signing done personally by Elton that you got the job? Or?
Yeah, I was at CBS at the time,
Yeah.
and they asked me if I'd like to come to Rocket and be head of A&R, and offered me lots of money, and I was also having an argument with CBS about not being able to put my name on
On things
records.
you did?
Yeah.
Right. Does he pay that well?
Oh, well, the tax people watching? No, it's rotten. Awful.
What's he like?
Oh, he's great.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, I hated leaving because it was just such a nice atmosphere there.
So how did you come to Australia? What brought you here as a producer? And then how did you meet Lem? Or how did the band get together with Lem?
Well, I came with Brian Cadd, because I lived round the corner from Brian in Los Angeles, and was overseas. And I was working with Brian in LA, and he said, come to Australia.
Yeah.
So we came down. And he went back, and I stayed here because I liked it.
But he's now back in Melbourne, isn't he? Got a band together. I think he was on the Lane show the other night.
Yeah.
Doing a song.
Yeah, he wants to be on the road, working.
Right.
And I don't.
And how did the Eurogliders and...
We'd heard of Lem. We heard that he was over east, and we heard some tapes of what he did.
Yeah.
With people like Judy Zook and The Clash and things like that. And the record company flew him over to Perth, where we did a demo. We did a demo of Americans.
They auditioned me.
We auditioned Lem. and we got on really well.
Yeah, it was obvious. Why did you go to Manila to record your album?
We had so much stuff that we wanted done. We didn't want to wait any longer, so there was nowhere in Australia, there was no sort of major studio that was vacant at the time.
They were all booked up.
Yeah, everything was booked up till sort of months ahead of when we wanted to do it.
You having worked in a whole stack of studios around the world, obviously, how did Manila shape up? What were the facilities there like?
Well, it looked great. It was like an Eastlake room, which looks the same anywhere in the world you go. It's all sort of wood and stone and sort of looks like a Swiss chalet.
Yeah.
But in fact, it was rotten because they tweaked the speakers out. It sounded great in there.
Right.
But when you took it outside, normally you take something outside and you listen to it and you can get a reference.
Yeah.
But because we were there was nowhere to take a reference.
See.
So it sounded good there, and as soon as we came out, it was so dull because they just tweaked it up so it sounded great in the studio,
Right.
which is just fooling themselves, really.
Yeah.
So when we got back, we had to remix it.
Apparently the band wasn't overly impressed with Manila in itself as a place.
I don't, yeah.
You liked it, didn't you?
I loved it. I really loved it. I had a ball.
Nice clothes.
You can get really cheap things made over there. But it's a really bizarre place. Like, it's really crazy. Like, you've got to be very, very careful. You've just got to be aware of what you can and cannot do.
Would they try and rip you off? Or?
Yes.
Yeah, they would, but I mean, they do that.
It's
in
one of those
Australia,
places
I think.
where
if there was a tourist over here, you know, the same sort of people that you'd be mingling with would try and rip you off as well.
No, it's one of those places where the difference between being rich and poor is very marked.
Oh, yeah.
And they're really poor.
So they're out to try and be rich?
Yeah, no, just they're out to try and eat. I mean, it's just awful.
Do they still have the curfew there at night?
No.
That's stopped now, is it?
Yeah.
Before all that happened, about 10 I think it was.
Yeah, the marshal.
If you're caught out after 10 o'clock at night, you're into the jail and you're hard labour for 24 hours.
It's amazing. Some of the things just a week before we went there was a 15-year-old girl that was caught with some marijuana on her personage, and
Dear, oh dear.
she was 15 years old, and she got imprisoned for 15 years.
Quite right too, absolutely. Quite right, absolutely.
15 years.
Drugs bad.
A little bit savage.
Just a tins. But it's a great place.
So you really liked it?
I loved it. I had a great time.
Those women there, mate. I mean,
Well, I was
you've
told to
been
go there. No, I've never been there.
Oh,
I said, get
dear,
there.
oh,
Go to
dear.
Baguio, some bloke said.
Baguio.
Baguio.
Up in the mountains. Baguio City.
Baguio. Yeah?
Oh,
So
God,
we won't record there, but
It's
we'll
actually
go there for a holiday.
it's actually the pits.
It's not. It is for you.
It is. It's horrible.
The women
it's
are
great
mad.
to go for a few days with if you went out on a sort of a stag night or whatever,
Right.
bucks night, whatever they call it here. It would be.
Oh, it's nice.
You want body or finger?
You want finger or body?
Finger.
Just before we go to the song, do you actually and honestly do carpentry? This is in your bio. You're a carpenter on the side.
Talking of carpentry.
I believe this.
Yeah.
What do you build?
Sort of practical things. Because basically we're really poor. And
Manila.
no, it's true. I sort of build things I need. Like I built a wardrobe when we moved into the house.
Shaky
And,
leg, Queen Anne leg.
A Queen
Yeah.
Queen Anne style.
And you also make all your own gear?
Oh, no, all of it. I make things that I can't buy cheaper.
And you sell some of the stuff now, don't you? You started your
No,
little business?
I'm not that good.
No?
No, I wouldn't sell any of my
I
stuff.
heard from someone that you were actually setting up a little business on
Did
the
you?
side.
Who told you that?
Does your
Just a
research.
fairy.
Obviously someone who gets his facts wrong.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at Without You, and you'll kill me for that, the Eurogliders, and then we'll have the Motors. And we've got Flash Gordon, parts 1 and 2, coming up very shortly, plus our guests will be in for a while. Stay around. Right on, cue.
It had to happen, didn't
Is
it?
that the only one you've had in the last week?
Oh, apart from the one I told you about the other day, the car crash.
Right.
You know about that one?
Oh, I don't know.
You
about
had a
Did
car
you know
crash?
about
No, we'd like to know about that one.
Keep
Go on.
running into things. And
we were coming back from rehearsal one night, and I went through a green light. I was lucky it was green, and it was a Jaguar actually, not a Mercedes, that turned into me and hit me. But we were all
Well,
okay.
that's fascinating. Grace.
Isn't it?
Well, it's funny. Listen, you didn't start just recently. When you
Sorry.
were a child, did not your sister try and kill you?
She did too.
Did you
She
spill
did
her
too.
wine as well?
No, I didn't. No, she
What
tried
happened
to.
there?
We used to live near Swans, a swan park in Scotland. Listen to the accent coming.
it's very good,
We used
very
to
good,
live near a swan park in Glasgow.
You're not Scottish.
Aye, can't we?
My father.
You can. Well, we can all talk like this now. Okay.
Nothing's wrong.
No, that,
Sutherland plan?
do you want to hear this or
Yeah,
not?
please tell us about when you were nearly killed as a
I
child.
wasn't killed. I just got fed to the swans. Me and my pram got pushed into the dike. And
Into the what?
into the water. It's not really called a dike.
Ian's trying to get
I was going to say, who's this dyke with you?
Saturday night
That's
flavour.
it. That's it.
And what happened though? Then your sister was to tuck you in.
Yeah, well,
So she
yeah.
tucked all 4 sides of the pram in, right? And
Of
she nearly
course.
smothered to death.
Yeah, I really, honestly, I really remember that. It's sort
Do you suffer from the
Yeah.
claustrophobic thing now?
Yes!
Okay, baby.
hands off my
Do you
thigh.
talk to your sister?
Oh, yeah, we're great mates.
So you're all right now?
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
How do you react to swans? I mean, do
I
you...
hate them.
Hate 'em. Sydney swans are all
Yeah,
right.
I say,
ones,
like,
yeah,
VFL ones are...
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
VFL.
great, yeah.
Oh, no.
They're okay, aren't they?
Yeah,
Those
no, I
tall,
don't.
handsome guys. Give us one bad thing that happened to you on radio.
Oh,
over the
don't
years.
do that
Now,
to
come
me.
on.
You know what it's like. You're on radio for years and
You must
years, and
be-
a lot of bad things
Bad
happen to
phone
you,
call
and
or
you
something.
really can't remember them because they merge into one big bad. And I said I said the word. I've said the word twice on the air. Luckily, both times it was a very
Rugby.
loud record. Yeah, no, the other one, the big 4-letter one. And luckily, there's a record, a very high-level record playing at the time. I didn't realise the microphone was on, and it wasn't heard. Luckily, I believe it wasn't heard. Yeah, probably if anyone's listening, sort of a bit stoned, they'd hear it subliminally. They're saying, "Did he say that word? Is John dead?"
Who's the guy? Who's the guy that you missed earlier? Alan Freeman. You couldn't think of his name. He apparently was something to do with the naming of Unit 4+2.
Yes, Alan Freeman, Fluff, as we know him. He used to have a radio programme in England, which was huge, and it was sort of Unit 1 was the new entries, Unit 2 was the top 30, and Unit 4 was the top 5. So we thought, oh, that sounds good. We're going to have top 5, so we called ourselves Unit 4.
+2.
Well, we added 2 later. We were a sort of 4-piece close harmony group originally. Then we added a bass player and a drummer, and called them +2. It's pretty sort of...
And you're not the only ex-member, like Tommy Moeller's here now.
No, we're all
ex-member
ex-members
of that
now because we
group.
broke up.
Yeah, right. but
Tommy's
here in Australia.
yeah, Tommy's here. In fact, we're doing our follow-up record.
He did a great record recently called The
Yeah,
Legend
no,
of the
just
Phantom.
talking
I
about my
played
follow-up,
That's it, yeah.
follow-up record.
Yeah, and nothing happened. I don't know why. Yeah. I got my check and everything.
What's the follow-up going to be?
It's a song that Tommy's written,
Yeah.
and it's we figured that 17 years was fair enough.
Now, Tommy's brother, I know Tommy, but I didn't know his brother was, tell us who.
Tommy's brother Bill,
Yeah.
who was was our road manager, became Whistling Jack Smith.
Good heavens, is that
Is
right?
that fabulous?
This
Yeah.
this is fascinating stuff.
It's all like memorabilia and little...
That's great, isn't it?
I can
It's
get into it.
Tell me
you
that
what,
used to be this thing
Glenn
called
A.
radio-
Baker should be
radio-
here tonight. He'd love all this. Into Bulgaria. Can you tell us a story around that?
Yeah, can I put this glass down here,
You can
Grace?
put it anywhere. Grace, what's
we
the least?
we went to Bulgaria, which is a communist country, and we did 3 radio shows live from Bulgaria. And no one believes we're really there, but we really went to Bulgaria. Now, you ask me why.
Why?
A good question, because it was there. Every 2 years they have this festival of humour and satire in this little country town in the Balkan Mountains, and we went along to that. We got there, we discovered it wasn't real funny because what they call satire is not what we call satire. It's more sort of whimsy. So we had to get 3 or 9 hours of radio out of this little country town where no one spoke English. So it was quite an achievement in probably basic bullshit, really. But we got away with
it. Good stuff. You ever had a problem in the studio recording anyone? Has ever one stick out in your mind that something went really
embarrassing moments?
Yeah.
Well, with Judy Zook, we were in Air, London, which is a really lovely studio, and she brought Brian Robertson along that was in Thin Lizzy at the time.
Right.
And that Brian was a little bit sort of tired and emotional, and we're sitting there waiting for his big moment. And the moment came, he got up, dropped his bottle of vodka all over the desk, and then fell down. Accident! Fell down, went to sleep, so we had to throw him out.
Did it ruin tape and stuff?
Oh, it ruined the desk.
It ruined the wall.
Oh, yeah.
And what about your Manila story you wanted to tell me, Manila?
Not the turkey.
Finger or body.
Finger or body, what do you mean?
3 of us went for a...
I'll take both.
3 of us went for a massage.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
One of those, eh?
Honest massage we went for.
Oh, yeah.
The honest massage parlour was closed.
Yeah.
And so we went to a naughty place.
Naughty massage
and
parlour.
we asked the receptionist...
Oh, dear.
We asked the receptionist if they did honest massage there. She said, yeah, it's okay, you know, she took our money. And we said, look, we don't want naughty stuff, no kissing of the willy or nothing like that.
Oh, no naughty things.
So we went in there and this girl started working on me. She was great. She was rubbing my back and really sort of pummeling it. And then she rolled me over and she said, okay, you want finger or body? And I said, no, nothing. I just want an honest... good massage.
So, it'd be horrible having a finger in your ear like that, wouldn't it?
She didn't understand.
Yeah.
No,
would there be a moral to this? If you go to Manila, you don't go and get massages.
only go to honest massage parlour.
Very hard to find.
Get powder, not oil.
Flash Gordon, part 2 of episode 2. Let's have a look at
Cover
that.
the embarrassment.
Stick around there.
What do you get the more?
You tell me more about
The
Manila.
rest of it.
Grown men.
Can you give us a Bill Collins on that real quick, Macrae? We've only got about 30
Yes,
seconds.
you may have noticed in the second part there was the first guest appearance by Alan Seal.
Yeah.
Notice him, he was in there.
Just
And the whole thing was produced by a bloke called Macrae. Same spelling, runs in the family. It's
Carmen.
Just a few years
Carmen.
before you, mate.
Carmen. Wrong colour.
Thank you very much for coming in and talking with us.
Is that
Thank
it?
you for being with us, Grace. Good luck with the Eurogliders, and thanks, Lem.
No,
we must talk
yeah.
again at some stage in the
Absolutely.
near future.
Oh, yeah.
Find out a bit more about those people that you've worked with over the years.
Yes, Lem.
And your own career.
Thanks, Ian.
Good night, everyone.
Donnie.
It's, so a link to Manila as we go out.
A link?
Stiff little fingers.
Oh,
Coming up.
memories.
Oh, yeah.
See you after dark
Stiff little
next
fingers
week.
or buddies.